Massey has comments that he would like to make.
Absolutely, Ms. Boyd. Senator Massey.
You can go ahead, Senator Massey.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight, and I appreciate the commission holding this night hearing for citizens to be able to participate in and listen to. So thank you. I've got a few points I'd like for the commission to consider. I'm going to do my best to go as quickly as I can, but there are a few points I'd like to make. And first, I would like to just point out that I'm speaking on my own behalf. I'm not speaking in my role as a senator, although I have some information that I've gained from my role as a senator. But I am a residential and a commercial customer for Dominion Energy, and there are things that I'd like to speak about in that regard. First, from my research, Dominion's residential rate for 1,000 kilowatt hours per month today is the highest in the state among the publicly owned utilities that generate their own power. I realize that Duke and Duke Energy Progress are different from Dominion. I understand they have different customers. I understand they serve different parts of South Carolina. I understand they've made different investments, but they all serve South Carolinians. Dominion's rates are the highest, and this is after the legislature had to take an extraordinary step to force those rates down. Dominion's request here would push their residential rates per 1,000 kilowatts per hour to, my understanding, is $131.99 per month. Mr. Chairman, that is more than $16 per month more than Duke's current rate. It's nearly $12 per month more than Progress. What do customers get for that? What is Dominion providing that Duke isn't providing? Has Dominion made more investments? Are those investments used more than Duke's investments? Are those investments more useful to customers? What are customers getting from Dominion that is worth an additional $16 per month? Frankly, customers getting that is worth anything more per month than what Duke charges or what Duke Progress charges. How can Duke deliver reliable power to its customers for $7 per month less now, or $16 to $17 per month less after this request? Mr. Chairman, for anybody who has paid much attention to me, you know that I believe in profit. I understand why businesses exist. I also understand why this commission exists. Mr. Chairman, one issue I'd like to speak about is a request that I specifically noticed in Dominion's application, and that deals with transmission lines that are running from BC Summer. We learned in 2017 that not all of the BC Summer investments were a waste. We heard that SCANA invested in additional transmission capacity coming out of Summer to deliver the increases that would come from Units 2 and 3. And from what I've read, as part of this rate increase request, Dominion has included the investment of those transmission assets in this request. Mr. Chairman, I asked the Commission to look very closely at the benefit customers are receiving from those transmission assets. If the investment was made to deliver power generated from Units 2 and 3, the Units 2 and 3 are not going to be built. There's no way that the additional transmission is being used to capacity. If those assets aren't being fully used, customers shouldn't have to bear the full cost. I asked the Commission to look closely at that. Another thing that jumped out at me from the testimony that I've reviewed so far is a question raised about merger transaction costs, specifically an increase in debt associated with the merger. As I'm sure the Commission recalls, the merger conditions that the Commission adopted 2 years ago prevents passing those merger costs on to customers. I asked the Commission to look closely at that issue, and I ask that you remember, the merger conditions were written by Dominion. The legislature didn't write those conditions. Consumers surely didn't write those conditions. They weren't negotiated. The Commission adopted Dominion's proposed merger conditions. Hold them to those conditions. Finally, paying SCANA and now Dominion for years for something I will never receive. I will be paying Dominion for another 18 years for something for which I will never receive a benefit. That, of course, are the abandoned units at VC Summer. They knew long before anyone else that customers wouldn't get a benefit. They knew long before they told the commission. In fact, they hid that information. Customers will continue to pay for that for another 18 years. More galling is that customers will pay a 9.9% ROE on top of those abandonment costs for 18 more years. Now, I understand that issue may not be before the commission directly, although I did read an argument that the commission should revisit the ROE from that decision 2 years ago, which would be fine with me. But it is. I bring this up because I think it's important that we understand who we're dealing with. Dominion tells its investors that it is under-earning in South Carolina. Yet Dominion is going to collect abandonment costs and a profit on those abandonment costs for 18 more years. And their rates today are higher than any other publicly owned utility in the state. And now they ask for more. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your service to South Carolina. I appreciate the other commissioners for joining in for their service as well. You have a tough job. I recognize that. But it's a job you sought. You asked for this. I ask that you not act like the commissioners you replaced. I ask that you give this request the scrutiny it deserves. Mr. Chairman, that completes my comments. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Senator Massey. Any questions for Senator Massey? Senator Massey, enjoy your evening, sir.